Good morning and welcome to the porch. We are going to do a shooter video today, and I wanted to invite you guys along to do that with us. Now, having said that, let me show you guys what we're going to be test firing today and doing a review on. This is the GLOCK 17L Gen 5. And we just bought this gun a week or two ago and told you guys we'd do a review on it, so that's what's going to happen today. Now, what we're going to do first is we're going to take the gun over and table here and change the camera angle, and we're just going to walk through the features of the gun with you, and as well we're going to show you what comes with the gun, the box and all the components and things that are in there. Then we're going to shoot it. We're out on the range today. This is our range, and we're going to shoot the gun. We're going to have some fun. We got some different types of ammunition we're going to shoot. We're going to try some hardball 115 grains, some 115 grain hollow points, and then some 147 grain flat nose. And we got some water bottles out there. We've got some steel targets out there. We've got some paper targets, and we got a concrete block. So the shooting part of this is going to be a little bit interesting. But anyway, let's go ahead and go over here and change the cameras out and set at the table where we can really show this thing to you good. And just bear with us, because we're going to get to doing some shooting. And then after we do the review and the shooting, we're going to come back to the final thoughts and talk about our final thoughts about this gun and what we think about it. So let's go ahead and get this camera changed over so we can look at this gun a little bit closer. Let's go ahead and get started with this review. And I think first thing I want to show you guys is right here you got a reloader, and those things actually come in handy, especially if you're old and your hands get tired like mine. And comes with 3 17-round magazines, and I'll tell you, I really appreciate that Glock has the foresight to do that. That means probably more than they think it does, but 3 extra magazines, so that's a good deal. Now you have some beaver tail straps, and I'm not going to try to put those things on because it's really cold out here today and my hands don't seem to be working too good. But you have 2 different thicknesses right there, and if you like the beaver tail, which I do, you can install them, and I think I'm going to install the thin one on mine, so we'll do that a little bit later. Okay, now it does come with the pin, the extra long pin to install those beaver tails, plus this little tool. So again, that's good of Glock to put that extra stuff in there. Makes our life a whole lot easier. And here is for adjusting the rear sight. It's another little tool. It's just kind of loose in the box. I wish they'd have put that in the package. I almost lost that thing. But anyway, that'll help to adjust the windage and elevation on the sights. And last but certainly not least, the MOS base plate. That'll come in pretty handy. Now, I haven't done all the research on what optic goes on that, but I have done some research on optics for these, and I think I've already found the optic I want, but we'll do that in another video and talk about that, as well as you got screws with Loctite already on them and a wrench to put them on with. So let's get to the meat of the subject. Oh yeah, before I forget it, all your safety instructions and things like that, all your paperwork, it's in the box. Now, I'm going to try to reference to my notes on this gun over here, because there's so many features on this gun I want to talk to you guys about. If I don't look at these notes, I'll surely forget them. But let's go ahead and start out with the fact that it is a long slide. That's what the L stands for, 17L. And it's 6.2-inch barrel. And it is also a marksman barrel on top of that. So that to me is a big plus. So I'm kind of slowing down here. I got a car driving by and I'm trying to let it get by before I go any farther. That's the perils of doing things outside. But anyway, that's the barrel on it, and it has the typical plastic Glock sights on it, as you guys can see there, and certainly nothing to write home about, but they work. And again, as I said a while ago, you have windage and elevation on that rear sight, so you can do something with that. All right, let's see where we want to go from here. Ambidextrous safety with a little bit of an extension on it. So that's pretty nice right there too. The gun weight on this thing, I think I've seen it at 26 ounces. I'm not totally sure about that, but I tried to do the research and I'm trying to remember, but I think it's 1 ounce less than the Glock 17. You know, this gun is remarkably light to be as big as it is. And when I first picked it up, that was one of the things that I took note of is, my lands, that thing's light to be as big a gun as what it is. Now, just so everybody knows too, while I'm thinking about it, pointing that barrel every direction, it is safety checked. I did that before we started, but just let you guys see. Okay, oh, flared magwell. Look at this, guys. Now, that to me means quite a bit, because the older I get, the stiffer my hands get, and having things like a bigger mag well just really makes it easier on me to get the mags in and out of there. Oh, trigger pull on this thing. Now, I haven't really tested the trigger pull on it. I think people are getting between 5 and 6 pounds. I'm going to check that, but let's just look at the travel in that trigger right quick. Not too bad. Some of the guys said they were getting around 4 pounds trigger pull on these guns. I don't know whether this one's 4 or not, but I'll tell you, it does seem to me like it's pretty light. Got the typical spongy Glock trigger. A lot of folks don't like that, but I got to be honest with you, I don't know what it is about that, but I kind of like that trigger. And we've got a few Glocks around here. So that's the trigger pull. I wished I'd have measured that for you guys, but I just forgot to do it. And it has front and rear serrations on the gun, as you can see here. And that don't mean a lot to me, but they say once you put the red dot on them, it does mean a whole lot. Now let's also talk about this just a minute. MOS plate already cut in it, so you don't have to send your gun off to get the plate area cut in it and spend that money and time. Does have the typical Gen 5 undercut on the trigger. I have another Gen 5 Glock that's got that. Got some serration here on the front of the trigger guard. I actually like that trigger guard. Big trigger guard makes it easy to get your big old fat fingers in there. Accessory rail on it as well. And that's going to work good for me, because one of the things I'm probably going to do is put this gun next to my bed on the nightstand, and I want to install a flashlight on that. So that is a good thing to have. Now, this thing has a nitrite finish on it, and I want to talk a little bit about the finish on this gun, not just the color of it, but just the fit and finish altogether. The nitrite is just a really smooth, even finish on this thing. Just makes it look really good. But I also want to talk about the fit of this gun. You know, I think the reason Glock has such a good name and has had it so long is very simply because they do such a good job of building their guns. They've got a good process, no doubt in my mind about that. And this gun, just everything seems to fit good. I mean, look at this right here, guys. This thing is just smooth across there. The plate fits good. The old plastic sights, though they're not very good, they fit good. The finish of the gun all the way through, even in the lower, is the stippling and everything's really nice on it. really smooth. Everything looks like it's supposed to. No burrs, scratches, or anything like that. So these guns are really built good. And like I said, that's probably the reason I have such good luck. These things functioning well. Now, I have heard a few people that's griped about the function of these guns, and we're going to take this into the shooting range, and then we're going to come back and talk about the gun and its function. But right now, let me show you what we're going to be shooting today. Now, this is some 115 grain, I think. Not 100% sure of that. Of course, they're Hornady rounds, and they have the XTP projectile on them. And I just bought these in a baggie. Somebody had bagged them up. I don't know why, but sometimes I find ammo, used ammo like that don't have a box, that are in baggies and stuff at various places. And if it's cheap enough, I buy it for range ammunition. I wouldn't carry this because I don't know for sure exactly what it is. It says it's a Hornady, and all of them say that, so I'm sure it is. I'm familiar enough with the XTP projectile that I'm confident that that's what that is. So that's one of the things we're going to be shooting. Another thing we're going to be shooting is this Monarch 9mm zinc coating, 115 grain full metal jacket. Now, these are really, really budget friendly bullets or cartridges. And to be honest with you, I'm a little leery about shooting them because I don't know what that budget friendly at that price that I got these at, $9 a box, is going to do in my gun, but we'll see. Also, a little bit better grade of ammunition is the 9mm Luger 147 grain coated flat point. Now, these right here, I've shot a few out of the gun already. I'll tell you, these things are hard hit, and I don't know what the speed of that bullet is or anything like that, but we're just using them for target ammunition, but we're going to shoot some of those as well. So with all that said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and load up some magazines here, and we are going to take this out here and shoot it and see what it does. Okay, let's go ahead and I think we're going to go ahead and go to the hollow points. Those right there. .115 grain hardball. Okay, guys, here we are in the office now. I tell you what, my fingers and toes got so cold out there a while ago, I couldn't hardly feel them. I'm froze. It's a little bit cold out there to be trying to make a video, but I think we're going to be able to get a pretty good video out of this time it's said and done. I was going to wrap it up out there, but I'll be honest, right now I just barely can feel my fingers and my toes, either one. So I thought, we're just going to have to wrap this thing up in the studio or the office here and let you guys know what our final thoughts are on this G17L. Again, really nice gun. Let's just start out with how did it shoot. Gun shot good, and it's shooting just a little bit to the left, but I did check the trigger pull on it a few minutes ago just to see what's going on. It's almost 7 pound trigger pull, so I might have been pulling that trigger a little bit to the left. But long and short of it is, that's something I can fix. I've done trigger jobs on these Glocks more than once, and I can get that trigger down to probably 4 pounds pretty easy. And we're going to go ahead and do that, because if you're going to shoot precision, which is probably what I want to be able to do with a 6-inch barrel gun, you got to have a trigger pull that works for that. So the trigger pull is not good, but the functionality of the gun is really, really good, and it's fun to shoot. I wouldn't have cared if it had been just a little bit heavier, because I'm going to be shooting some heavier rounds in it. Those 147s, they kick back pretty hard in this light gun. And I'm not going to carry this gun as a concealed gun or anything like that. This is more of a range gun for me, just a fun gun. But it shoots and functions good. Now, let me talk a little bit about function while we're on that subject. I watched a few of the reviews on this gun on social media, and there wasn't very many on there. And it was about probably, I don't want to say it's a half and half split. Some people liked it, some people don't. I think more people liked it than didn't. But there were some legitimate gripes about the gun, and there were some gripes that were just simply not legitimate at all. User failure, as far as I was concerned. Take, for instance, one guy I watched, he started shooting this gun, and first thing he did, you watch him do it, he was limp wristing it, and of course he was having feed problems. And I watched him shoot, and I thought, man, just tighten up on that thing a little bit. And then, brand new gun, had never shot it before. Not only was he limp wristing it, they decided that the way to try that gun out was shooting 50 and 100 yards before he got used to it up close, and he couldn't hit anything with it. Well, that wasn't the gun's fault. That was the driver's fault. Anyway, he criticized the gun pretty bad, and I'm not going to say too much more about what he said or anything else, because you guys might be able to figure out who it is, and I don't want to be in criticism to this guy, and then other people start looking at him the wrong way. So I'm just going to leave that anonymous, just making a point. Another guy, they did a review on it. It wasn't very good. The gun was jamming about every other shot or so, and he wasn't limp wristing it. This guy knew what he was doing. He was doing a good job of shooting it. So he sent the gun back to Glock, got it back, did another review, which is a fair way of doing things. And they put a new recoil spring in it, and the gun shot well. Now, I'm just saying all that to kind of give you an idea about what you're going to see out there if you go in looking at reviews. The guys that knew how to shoot really well, they weren't having any problems at all with it. They were, the people that had them liked them. And I like this gun. I like it real well. I'm going to put it in we're going to keep stock. Outside of the fact that it's just a long slide, and I like long slide guns, I've owned several of them over the years. I don't know that there would be any other reason that I would buy one, wouldn't buy one to carry. But to go out on the range and plink and have fun, this gun will do a really good job. Now, I will tell you this, probably one of the things that will happen to this gun, because it is too long and too big to carry and hard to conceal, I think it's going to go on my nightstand and replace the gun that I've got there now. I'm going to put a flashlight on it, and you know, it'll be a nice nightstand gun, and I just kind of like to have it there next to me. That'd be pretty neat. But overall, guys, if I had to say scale 1 to 10, how's this gun? I'd say it gets an 8. And the only thing that dings it a little bit is, of course, the plastic sights, and everybody will tell you that. But as far as fit and function and gun doing what it's supposed to do, the gun does what Glocks do. They just run. And this gun's no different. Now, I'll quickly tell you this. When Glocks first hit the market, I didn't like that at all. Because far as I was concerned, what did anybody need a plastic gun for? Well, people have a hard time changing, but they just stayed in there and until they got their name out there, and they just kept building a good, dependable gun. Now, I've got 3 or 4 Glocks now. I've got 10 millimeter and a couple of 9s, and of course this one right here, I think this is my 3rd 9, but anyway, they're good guns and they do real well. And after a while, I tell you, I'm gonna take a minute and tell you a quick story because it has to do with Glocks. My wife, she was hiking a lot out in the West Coast by herself up in the mountains, and she'd run into bear 2 or 3 times, and I know there was mountain lions up there because I run into them a couple of times myself. And she's carrying a 9 millimeter, and I told her, I said, you really need to carry my 357 Magnum when you're hiking up there instead of that 9 millimeter. Well, she started carrying it a little bit, and she didn't like it. 6-inch barrel gun, just hard to handle. So we was at the gun store one day, and I looked over. She had the guy at the counter, and they were looking at something. So, and I was over rambling around looking at other stuff. And I walked over and I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "You said I needed a bigger gun if I'm going to hike out in the mountains." She said, "I'm going to buy this Glock 10 millimeter." Now you got to understand, I wasn't a Glock fan at that time, but I thought, well, if she'll carry a 10 millimeter, that'll be a good gun for her. So I said, "Yeah, I'll buy it." She said, "You think it'll do it?" I said, "Oh, as far as power, yeah, it'll do fine." Anyway, she bought that Glock, and I took it out and shot it a few times, and I liked the darn thing. I hate to admit it, but I did. I liked the way it felt. I actually liked the way the trigger pull was on it. Now, they got a spongy trigger, but something about it I like. And anyway, I did do a trigger job on that one for her, and got it down to about 4 pounds. And anyway, that got me started on Glock, so I've been buying a Glock here and there. And I started to buy the Glock 40 when I bought this one. I could have bought it about the same price, but I wanted a gun that I could shoot quite a bit, and I've got a couple of 10 millimeters already, so I went ahead and bought 9 millimeter because of the price of ammunition, and you just have a lot less recoil. And if I need 10 millimeter, I've got a 10 millimeter. Now, having said that, you got to watch me, because that doesn't mean I won't buy a 10 millimeter Glock again. I've got a Glock 20 already, but it doesn't mean I won't buy a Glock 40, okay? So I'm not sitting there telling you that's not going to happen, because it might one of these days. Anyway, just to wrap this video up, guys, this is a good gun. Nothing wrong with this gun, and if you see anybody online badmouth it and criticizing it, just understand this is a brand new gun. This is first time it's been out, and there may be a few bugs that has to be worked out on it. Now on this one, that's not been the case, and I want to quickly say this. I've shot probably 6 or 8 different kinds of ammunition through this gun since I got it. It has not had one failure to feed or function in any way. And I shot some pretty ratty stuff through it, some stuff I had rolling around in the gun shop for 10 years. So if it was going to fail, I gave it an opportunity. Okay, guys, we here at Porch love you. We hope we say and do some things that'll help you guys make decisions when you're buying guns and buying ammo and stuff like that. And maybe our advice will help you. If it does, that's good. But having said that, may God bless. You guys have a good day.